Alright, we're back, man. We are back. I haven't posted this many videos in a month in a very long time, but fashion trends I stopped buying as of the past couple months or years. Stuff I slowed down on, pumped the brakes on. It's your boy, It Ain't Easy. Let's start the video. Man, people are definitely gonna get my words twisted on this one, but archive helmet, archive brands of their archive, I've just kind of stopped. And it's actually mainly helmet. You know, archive fashion, I think this past 5 years has like had this crazy boom where everyone was just like going crazy over archive helmet and CDG, and then people started digging into other brands' archives like Girbaud and whatever the case is. And I got into it too, and I was like, oh, this is dope. Until I started buying some of it, and I was going on Grailed, and I would buy some of like the archive helmet jean jackets. They had like type 1s, 2s, and 3s, even some of like the painter jeans and stuff. I got really big gripes on it. I think that a lot of the pieces, they're cool, but you know, that was in the 90s. You feel me? This is 20-something years, 25 years ago or whatever. I mean, bro, there's a lot of brands that make comparable things compared to what Helmet made, and it's also an upgrade to those things. And I'm probably gonna get destroyed in the comments for saying that, because people are so they're so focused in on what these designers did like 25 years ago. It's like, bro, I mean, that's dope, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you might have told me who invented the toilet, but homie, I still got a shit, you know? And then the other part of that was that, like, a lot of the helmet stuff that I would buy, or even just like archive, you know, pieces I would get on Grail, it would come in the mail, and bro, none of that stuff would fit. It wouldn't fit, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it was super depressing, because a lot of there's some affordable ones, but then there's some expensive ones that I ended up getting, and then I had to either let them go, and then sometimes letting them go is very difficult because not everyone's gonna pay that high price point. So you're now have this item that's been chilling on Grail for, I don't know, for forever. That's just money floating out there that you don't have yet. It's like hypothetical, you know what I mean? So I got in that rat race for maybe about a good 5-6 months, and then I was just like, what exactly am I doing right now? You know what I mean? Am I just buying this because, you know, I'm trying to find out, or am I buying this because I think it's cool? Like, I'm still in the quandary of wondering where I sit with all that category of clothing. And for now, I've pumped the brakes, I've slowed down, and I've kind of gone for alternative brands that make something similar. And it's like, oh, it might be the homie, he might be remaking something. I'm like, boom, perfect, I'll support that too. And I get to try it on for that matter. You know what I mean? It's a good one, man, but designer sneakers. I got the designer bug, you know, what was this, like a year ago, or like maybe this year, I don't even know, man, but I had a lot, bro. You know what I mean? Like, even a couple years back, I had a bunch of the Balenci tracks, sold all those because I was just kind of over the whole bulky sneaker aesthetic and stuff like that. And then just in general, I'm not really buying as many sneakers these days because I feel like I have a lot of the ones that I already need. But specifically designer sneakers, a lot of the designs after a while, they felt super cookie cutter, and it just felt like some kind of like big umbrella curing LVMH response to what was happening from kids going from sneakers to fashion or high fashion or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, we need to quickly come up with some kind of design to sell to this newer generation of millennials and Gen Z, and then they barf out this, you know, one design for that season. And I'm not gonna lie, I had a pair of these, I had a pair of these, I had these, and you're probably like, I've never even seen you with those. Yeah, because I bought them and then I literally went right back to the place and I returned them. I like put them on, and I don't know what it was. Like in the beginning, I was like, oh, these are fire. I like these. And then after all, I'm like, what am I doing? And also the prices hiked really high for designer sneakers like Gucci and Louis Vuitton, and especially Balenciaga. A lot of them, it was just ridiculous after a while. But you know, anyways, but not to twist my words too much, just know that Louis Vuitton and Balenciaga, from every once in a while they got one, especially I like their boots, which is a different category, but every once in a while they have one where I'm like, okay, I'm rocking with that. But other than that, I've slowed down. I've almost stopped and put into a halt. I walk through the Saks and the Nordstrom section of the shoes, and I'm like, none of this is really interesting to me. Besides that and Prada, those are cool, you know. But still never pulled the trigger. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. We'll leave it at that. Let's move on. Oh, dude, this list gets better as I keep going. But the next one is cropped. Yeah. And okay, hold on. Before I go in on this, all right, I'm not hating on it, but before I go in on it, I enjoy a crop tee, okay? Admittedly, a crop tee, a crop hoodie, but I don't want to do this and you can see my belly button, dog. I don't like that. I can't do it. Come on, like, let's be real here. Like, make the t-shirt longer, bro. You know, and I started to realize, like, the trend itself, and this is what happens, especially within men's fashion, maybe women's fashion too, I don't know. Once fast fashion or like those urban wear, I hate to use that word, but it is what it is, type shops or brands, you know, the hood stores, once they get a hold of it, and then that, like, they're like, oh, crops in? Oh, we gonna crop the shit out of everything, bro. Everything's getting cropped. And then what happens is it gets way too high. It gets way overdone, you know? And even for myself, like, I own so many slightly cropped items, and I have even homies that might have a brand. They might send me something, and then I'm starting to notice, like, a lot of them are getting way too high, bro. Like, for me anyway. I know a lot of other people like it, but like, I can't walk around with no midriff, bro. And then there was another portion of that where crop didn't make sense, because, you know, the whole Gorpcore thing came in, and then everyone was like buying windbreakers and stuff that was like equivalent to buying North Face or Arc'teryx, and then people will crop it. And it's like, bro, wait a minute, you know, that's a windbreaker, but if it's cropped, now the wind is going through my jacket. You know, you feel me? Like, that's not supposed to like, it's a windbreaker. That is no longer a windbreaker. Anyways, you get my point. Like, I don't, for me, I think it looks great on other people, whatever, what have you, especially depending on what your style is, but it's gotten a little out of hand, you know what I mean? Pump the brakes. I pump the brakes anyway. And some of the t-shirts I'm starting to buy now, they're getting a little bit longer, because I'm feeling like I'm being like countercultured, like a cropped item, you know? But anyways, if it's done well, it's done well, and when it's not done well, hey, it is what it is. Oh, I got gripes with this one. I got gripes with this next one, bro. Air Force One Nike by you. Oh, brother. Oh, bro. Woo. Well, don't get me started. We can make a whole video on this, but I'll give you some like little pointers, okay? So I went crazy with it with the Nike by Yous. I think some of the homies know. You know what I mean? I spent a good chunk of change. I bought a lot. All right. Now, did I have time to wear all of them? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I'm glad I stopped. You feel me? Because I spent a pretty penny. I spent a pretty penny on this shit because it got me excited, especially when they did the patent leather stuff. You feel me? Man, when that happened, oh dog. Like, I was careless. I should have never did that. But then again, you know, I still have some of them. I haven't worn them, so I can wear them in the future. But that was one part. And then the other part was that the quality of Nike by You just continually it just kept going down, man. Like, I'm not gonna say the fitting of it, but the box toe shape, obviously they didn't add in that extra padding in the back. The customizing options for the color of the stitching. Come on, dog. Nike, man, you're a $1 billion company, Mo. At least give us that, you know? But anyways, in the future, if Nike by You, or if Nike changes it and they let you have better customizing options, just basically take what they did with the anniversaries, put that on Nike by You, let us change the stitching color, let us put the logo, boom, it's game over, bro. I'll come back. I'll drop 2 or 3 bags on that for sure. Absolutely, 100%. Anyway, not to rant, because I can keep going with this, but I understand why they don't, because if they did, it would ruin the homage to, you know, so many other sneakers. But man, forget all that, bro. Just give me what I want, bro. At least give yellow. You don't even Nike excludes yellow out of Nike by You for whatever reason for Forces. Like what do they have against yellow? Is it not an easy color to? Anyways, let's move on to the next one. This is another category that people probably don't necessarily know me for, but I stopped buying it because I was experimenting and I was trying, and that's like vintage tees, like true vintage tees. I think the main purpose, the reason why a lot of people buy vintage tees is because they like the nostalgia, right? And I noticed even people like, shout out Jacob Starr or RJ, you know, RJ Suave, you know, all the people that do that, Paul Cantu and stuff, you know, they're OGs in the game. They've been doing it for a long time. They buy it, and I've noticed they buy it because it's like, oh, I remember this cartoon, or I remember this on the cereal box they had this, or I remember this one movie, and this t-shirt is really sick because it has single stitch. And I got into it for a minute, and then I bought some tees, and then I just ended up either selling them or selling it back to Second Street or Wasteland, because I'm like, bro, none of these t-shirts I feel that connected to. And the only thing that I would personally feel connected to is something that's like, let's just say like, I don't know, something that's rooted in the Bay Area, whether it be like people that came from the Bay that they rap or they're artists. But now that I think about it, there's not a lot of artists from the Bay that even had merch that could be considered vintage. And if we consider vintage maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, a lot of them didn't have merch. They just didn't. They were wearing just tall tees, Girbauds and Nikes and Stunna Shades back then. Like they weren't like Bay Area rappers besides E40 Too Short and Mac Dre. I don't even think Too Short. Is there even a vintage Too Short t-shirt out there? And if there is, how much is? It's probably a crazy amount of money. So at that point I was just like, I don't know if this is, you know, something that I want to pursue, because I don't even think the category what would be nostalgic for me, I'm gonna be able to find if I went to a vintage store and saw it on the rack. It's normally like Metallica or AC/DC or I don't know, some band I probably don't know much about. I do, however, like vintage tees that people remake. So I'll just kind of throw that out there. So it's not like I'm done, but I like ones that are remade well and it's new, because I don't I don't like smelling like I came out of a vintage store. Oh man, this next one, this next one's gonna be, this might be contradicting, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna say it anyway. I'm just gonna tell you guys how I feel about it. But that's fitteds, bro. Like fitteds. Like I cannot remember the last fitted that I bought. I think the biggest turnoff for me after a while was that fitteds, the designs of them and the colorways and the references, like they just kind of had nothing to do with anything at that point. And it just kind of felt like because fitteds were in, you know, the companies, you know, XYZ company, you guys already know who I'm talking about, they would create these like imaginary themes for these hats, which, you know, if you're into it, you're into it, but if you're not, it's like, bro, I don't know if we asked for a Snickers St. Louis hat, you know what I'm saying, or like a See's Candy like Texas hat, or like what, like I don't know. But the one moment for fitteds that I felt like I was like, oh, okay, that is cool, like I'm rocking with that, it was like the J Dilla, you know, because they remade the J Dilla, the super popular J Dilla Detroit hat. But granted, I don't know if people knew this, but in Y2K, like in the 2000s, bro, they had every team in that colorway. It just so happened that J Dilla wore that one, you know, and that was like a more experimental time for fitteds themselves, just for New Era, Hat Club, all those things. And there was more like exclusive stores kind of back in the day that you can go to, Ceremony Mall, shit like that, where you can find some like decent colorways, you know. But after a while, the collaborations and the again, the colors, it just didn't add up. Like, and shout out Hat Club and shout out New Era. I chatted with him before we were supposed to do something, but just admittedly, I just told him, I was like, I can't help promote like a cotton candy Dodger cap. Like, that's just not my thing. Like, I kind of only like 3 different colorways, and I stick to that. And I don't want people thinking that I'm saying all this just to say that I don't wear fitteds anymore. No, absolutely, I still wear them, absolutely. You know, nothing can deter me away from not rocking the all green Oakland A's, or just the green with the yellow bill, like the classic on-field colorways, right? Or the San Francisco Giants, just the all black with the orange, right? I mean, those are classic caps, especially with a gray bottom. But I don't know, I felt like they just weren't making what I was looking for, so I pumped the brakes super quick. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so the last one I'm gonna bring up it's not really a banger to end with, but it's actually gonna be New Balance. And I know you're probably watching this and you're like, bro, you're such a hypocrite, you're literally wearing them. I'm not saying I stopped wearing New Balance, but I would say that I've slowed down and I haven't bought a pair of New Balances ever since the New Balance 550. Wait, no. Whatever these New Balances are, I forgot the number. But once these got announced, I stopped buying. Like, I was just like, bro. Because when it got announced, I was like, wow, that's actually a pretty dope sneaker. But then, you know, here comes New Balance. They're like, let's exhaust every single colorway all in one whop, too. All in one, you feel me? It was like, boom, here's 90 colorways. I was like, oh, I see where this is going. And then also for the 992, because I went from 993 to 992. The 992, it's like, I can't name a better colorway than this, other than like the Jown. Some of the Jowns were cool, which I own some. I own the Shroom, I own the green one. I think the Shroom is one of the better colorways as well. But even just the basic one in this and brand new, like, nothing could beat it. It's almost like as good as a Coke White Air Force One, you know what I'm saying? But I already own, I own 3 of these things. I have like one of them that's DS, and if you wear this shoe every day for like 3-4 years, it's still like it's like an indestructible sneaker. This is one of those cases where the product is so good that it doesn't make you want to buy anymore, because it's like, why? I already have the other. I have the backup already, you know. All right, so to close this video off, the only last thing that I'll say is, I mean, obviously, I probably don't buy as much as I used to, especially like when I first started YouTube, like even like the midpoint of like COVID times. I don't buy necessarily as much, and I'm way more picky now, because a lot of the things that I see in store, I'm like, you feel me? I can make that. Like, I can make that. Give me a month, I can make it. Unless it's something more complicated, like a very specialty handmade handbag or some luggage, which I'm working on my own luggage too, but you know, money is very expensive to do. So there's certain things that I appreciate more, and I'm like, oh, I like this better. I'll buy this instead of buying something that I can make. You know, if you give me 3 weeks from now, I can pump it out myself. And that's a part of it too, you know what I'm saying? But as it stands, I want you guys to put in the comments, what is some of the stuff that you guys fell off on? What is some of the stuff that you guys were not interested in anymore? Like, what are you buying now? Like, what do you find yourself buying the most as of 2023 and moving into next year? So it's your boy, It Ain't Easy. I will see you next time. Bye bye.